Hello everyone, good morning, happy Friday, woo! You made it to Friday, and it's an especially fun Friday because it is the launch of our very first combo club. And I think you guys are tuning in today, likely because you purchased our combo club membership. We did that a few months ago. I believe it was back in February. You could sign up for 3 months or 6 months of our combo club, where you will receive a combo of a 3D embossing folder and a layering stencil at your doorstep every month. And then we have lots of fun stuff, including today's live, to give you inspiration using those products. And we have early release Supersize Your Combo products.
Woo!
So
I'm ready!
I know, Whitney's excited, Susan's here.
I'm so excited.
I have dressed for the occasion, so if you have peeked at the combo today, then hopefully you see the tie-in with my outfit today. But we are super excited for this, and I'm going to walk through the products that will be arriving on your doorstep, as well as the supersize products, and then we're going to craft together with the products. So I see lots of comments this morning. Good morning. Nancy's here. Hi, Cheryl, Melissa, Susan, Marcia, Trina, another Susan, Stacy, Shelly, Linda, Karen, Deneen. I love it. Good morning. We have lots of Combo Club lovers, and so I hope you are super excited about this just like we are. And if it's your first time, give us a shout out in the comments. We would love to know if this is your first Combo Club experience. This is something we've been doing for the last couple of years. It takes place from April through September, so it's a 6-month time period. And yeah, if it's your first time, welcome. I hope you're super excited to see what we have in store for you.
It's my most favorite time!
I know, it really does get excitement around here too, because it's Friday and we're typically a little more like wound up and excited on Fridays. So glad you guys are joining us on a Friday. And if you're watching this on replay, feel free to comment along as well. Just in case you guys didn't get this announcement, those of you that are watching right now did, but if it took you a little while to find this, we are only going live for these combo clubs on YouTube. So we provide that link through Facebook. So if you want to come onto our fan page and find it on Facebook, but the actual live stream only happens on YouTube. We get a little better consistency with YouTube technology, and Facebook announced that their live videos would be deleted after 30 days. So we're doing a little bit more dual streaming and also just streaming on YouTube. So make sure you mark that down up in your brain for the months coming from now that we will be live through YouTube. And we do have those events created for you, so you can even mark that you want to be notified when we are about to go live. So, all right, we've got some people. Oh, Louise, it's your first combo club? Julie says she's done every one. Love the combo club. Awesome. Carissa, you have your second combo club, so you were with us last year. Exciting. All right, well, let's get to the big reveal. If you already peeked this morning, the products did come out. Our supersized products did come out at 9 a.m. And you likely got an email if you're part of our combo club showing you a link to those combo club products. If you are part of the combo club, you will be able to see the supersized products if you drop down under shop and combo club. You will only be able to see those if you are logged in, because those are exclusive to our combo club subscribers. So if you're watching this and you're not part of the combo club and you think, where can I find those products? Don't try too hard, because you won't be able to. So only if you're in the combo club, log into your account and then drop down shop and combo club. All right, let's check it out. The big reveal. So as I mentioned, every combo club this year will include a combo of a 3D embossing folder and coordinating layering stencil. So this month, for our very first one, we have Checkered Garden. And oh my gosh, this is so Taylor right here. I think checkerboard is a really a really trendy thing right now. I see checkerboards all over, whether it's kind of retro groovy themed or in this case, just a modern take on a floral by creating a checkerboard pattern with flowers and leaves. So I am going to open this up and show you what you get in your combo club. Look at this nice pouch. We have upgraded this from our last combo club, and we are offering you these 7.5-inch pouches with the Velcro seal at the top with your products inside. And
It's Whitney approved for storing.
Whitney approved for storing. Good to know. And then this you will receive in with your combo club. This is our packaging file to show you the mock-up of what that will look like if you were to use the stencil and the embossing folder together. And then you flip that over and you get a couple of different color combination options on the back. So something to get you started right out of the gate. Also, we have a QR code down here at the bottom. So this is actually going to link you to today's live video. So if you're ever wondering, I'd like to get some more inspiration, see those samples again, just scan that with your phone and it'll take you to today's live video. Then for the products, we have a layering stencil. Let's open this up. It is a 4-layer stencil to create that checkerboard pattern. So the first layer is the leaves, and then the remaining layers are the flowers and the flower centers. So I think I'm excited. These turned out super fun, and we have had, Susan, haven't we had so much fun playing with this?
Oh yeah.
Especially with all the additions and possibilities for the additions and color combos. I know, I love it. So that's the layering stencil. And then once you blend this, it coordinates perfectly with the Checkered Garden 3D embossing folder. Let me see if I can get a piece of paper underneath this so that you can see that design a little bit better. But the cool thing about 3D embossing folders is that they give you multiple layers of depth. So if you look really closely inside of those flower centers, there are little dots. And that means that you're going to get multiple layers of depth in that flower center. So the little tiny dots are actually raised higher than the flower center, which is raised higher than the flower itself. And then it's all inside of a checkerboard. So really fun with these 3D embossing folders. Now I know everyone uses a little bit different machine when they use 3D embossing folders, but because of the multiple depths of thickness on these, they are a little bit thicker than a regular embossing folder. I'm going to show you how to use them with a Big Shot machine, but if you have some other machine, use the everybody's best friend Google to figure out what your required sandwich is, or check out your manual or the company's website where you got it from to see what sandwich is appropriate for a 3D embossing folder. So there you have it. Here is your first month's combo club. Who wants to see some samples?
Me.
Okay. I guess there is one. I kind of have, I know you guys got the ability to check out your combo club, what would be shipped to you a little bit early this morning when we sent the email out, but I'm not sure if they put in the special freebie die that you are receiving. Okay. So when you signed up for Combo Club, if you signed up for 6 months, we had a special promotion where we offered you a free die with your purchase of the 6-month club membership. And I'm excited to show you this die. It is a $29 value, so a big die, and it can be used really on a lot of our Combo Club products that will be coming out. I'm going to show you some samples using this today because most of the people watching today are 6-month club subscribers, so this will be arriving in your first club subscription as well, or your first month's shipment as well. It is called All Planned Out 3. If you're familiar with our All Planned Out series, this gives you a fun layout opportunity for your projects. We have obviously 2 before this, so you can check those out on the website if you haven't heard of All Planned Out. But let me show you a couple of samples that I used with the All Planned Out set and our new Combo Club. So here you can see what that looks like with this fun little kind of layering die, this angled die set it comes with 2 layers. The first layer includes a little pierced line and a mini petite scallop. And then that second layer is the layering die, just the plain layering die inside of that. So you can layer these together and make it look like a fun little closure with the button dies that are included. There's a circle, a flower, and a heart button. And you can see I just tied my buttons with a little bit of burlap twine and placed them in that angled area.
Those buttons are one of my favorite things.
Isn't that fun?
I love that. The way you just tied that in there made them look so cutesy.
I know, it is.
Adorable.
It is cute. It goes really well with the style of this particular combo club. And then it comes complete with a sentiment as well. We have the hello here, which has a backer if you like to use it that way. Or on my projects, I just blended those letters in kind of an ombre, so dark towards the bottom and lighter towards the top, and adhered them right onto the background. And then to give you an extra little bit of dimension in the bottom here, I have scored the bottom at 1/4 inch lines using my scoreboard to give it just that little bit of extra pop on the white layer.
Did you tell them that was 1 6x6 that you blended?
Yes. No, I didn't, but I should. Yeah, no, I didn't tell them that. That is a good thought. So this here represents 1 6x6 panel from the stencil and embossing folder. And I did use the 3D embossing folder on these so you can see the layers of dimension created. And then I just cut them out. That's why one of them is reversed and coming from the bottom up, and one is coming from the top down, because I didn't want to turn this around and my leaves would be upside down. So I gave you 2 different options using the same 6x6 blend. Isn't that fun? Karen asked, how many cardstock layers on each button? Good question. I did 2. So I did stack them on each other to give them a little bit more thickness. All right, so that is something that will be coming if you are a 6-month club membership person, the All Planned Out 3. Now I'm going to show you some more samples. This is actually what we are going to be creating today on the live using the Combo Club items. And this again is another 6x6 blend cut into 2 pieces to create 2 cards. You can see I use some fun backgrounds, a scalloped edger that we'll talk through, and then these fun sentiments are part of your Combo Club Supersized products. So we'll get a chance to talk more through these as we create them later on. Let me show you a few other samples from designers. Look at these fun color combos. I love it. I'm still wondering, how did Jill do this? Did you notice that her little, her checkerboards are dual colored?
Yes!
She must have used some kind of masking tape to mask down the edges of her stencil before she blended. I'm going to have to ask her about that.
Yes. I often think that about Jill's projects. I'm like, how did she do this? And how many ink colors did she use?
There are a few ink colors on this, but what a fun idea to separate the color even more by masking off down the center of the openings. I think that's super fun. And that color combo, just super unexpected and really fun. Let me see if she's got it in here. She does. Here it is. If you want it, screenshot now for Jill's color combo. Love that. And then we have this one. Jen Schultz made this bright, fun card using, I believe this looks like dragon fruit, dried fig, mango, and then maybe lime zest or Granny Smith for the flowers, or the leaves is what I meant to say. So super fun. There's lots of different ways to do these sentiments. They are actually designed to take up 2 boxes of the checkerboard pattern, but you can see Jen offset hers not exactly within the boxes, and Jill used hers to overlap 2 of the boxes. So kind of fun. Let's talk about those sentiments. So these are one of the Supersized product add-ons. This is the Block Talk Love Ya stamp and coordinating die to go with it. I think these are so fun. because they're a little bit different. So actually the solid part of the stamp is what you stamp in color, and then the words stay whatever color cardstock you're using. So in the case of all of the samples we have, they are stamped on white cardstock, so your words are white, and then whatever color ink you use is the dark portion. Let's see, Marsha's asking if there will be a place where we can see the design team samples. Yes, I believe we will have, if we don't already, we will have a Pinterest gallery for the Combo Club. That's what we did last year.
It's also under the Combo Club products, supersized products.
There's okay.
Inspiration. So
okay.
You can go on the TE website and find those too.
Yes. Okay, good. EC said that for everyone as well. If you go under to shop the supersized products, you'll find samples within there. If you like to save them off into your folders, you can do that as well. So then the cool thing about this stamp is it stamps this full background in color with the words left with the background cardstock, and it has these alignment squares along the side. And then we have this all together die that cuts them when you line up those alignment squares. It cuts those sentiments into blocks and adds a stitch line around the outside of them. So super fun. You will see them, I think, on every card we have here today. But I gave Susan a little challenge yesterday and asked her to create a card using just the sentiments, because I think these are so fun and there's so many just so many opportunities with them.
I'm so excited about these. I think they're so cute. It's such a unique way, too, to have your sentiment, and they're just adorable.
Yes.
Okay,
I know.
show us Susan's card.
Okay.
I'm ready for it.
I am seeing Shelly's comment, and she says, my spidey sense detects a series of stamps. Maybe. I don't know, Shelly. Your spidey senses, they seem pretty good to me. But usually if we have thoughts of continuing a series, we'll name it, a series name dash whatever the item is. So we did think ahead and thought this might be something fun to continue adding to our collection. But look at this adorable card. It's in my favorite rainbow. We've got those sentiments down the middle of the card, kind of offset from each other in rainbow order. And then I love how Susan took the lighter and the darker version of the cardstock. She stamped all of those with the,
a little sneak peek.
Yes, I told Susan it was okay. She did ask, and I said it is okay. So this little polka dot stamp, this is an extra little sneak peek for you guys. It is coming out next week, so you don't have to wait. I know, Susan's like, am I in trouble? No, I just remembered that we did think that would be fun to show you guys that little extra sneak peek. And she stamped that with Versamark and then embossed it with clear embossing powder to kind of draw out those darker dots and give it some texture, and I just love that. So super fun. These die pieces over on the sides of the sentiments are cut out with the same die. So you can even use these blocks without the sentiments that they coordinate with. You can find other sentiments that fit in them, and lots of different uses for building blocked backgrounds as well. So that's called Block Talk Love Ya and the coordinating dies. Now, for those of you who love to foil, you will be seeing probably lots of foilets during our combo club, because we love the option to foil portions of our designs as well. So this particular one gives you the 2 different patterns, 6 of each. We've got the alignment squares on there, so they will coordinate perfectly as you lay your stencils over the top. And I've got a couple samples here for you. So this sample Sue created, and I think that's so fun. You can see how the foilet on this one creates the halftone leaves. So she blended the background of the leaf stencil on there and then foiled with green to give it that foiled effect on half of the leaf portions. So that would be this pattern on this side. And then she created a second card using this foilet design, and this one creates a background for some of the checkered pieces that the flowers are on, and also the flower centers. So 2 different options with that foilet. Really fun samples from Sue. I love this kind of unexpected color combination as well. She usually puts her colors in here. let's see, plum punch, candy corn, pineapple, and pear.
Ooh!
So very unique. Love that. All right, so that's the foilet. Then we have a couple other products to step up your card making with this theme. So we have the Checkered Garden dies and a card that Jill made using these. And these are the same, so two of the flowers in here are the exact same size as what's in your stenciled design. These two smaller ones. So if you wanted to take your stenciled design and pop up the flowers after you stencil them, let me bring this card back and show you. You see these flowers here, so Sue popped those up over the top of the stenciled design to give it some more dimension on that card front. So that is an option for pairing it with your layering stencil, but you can also build some fun die cut card pieces as well. I know lots of you are die lovers, and so this gives you even more versatility and opportunity to use this style with die cut cardstock. Now don't take your eyes off this fun background. It may look like just a single piece of paper, but let me see if I can get it up here a little bit closer to the light. You can see it's actually a patchwork of stitched squares. So that is the last thing in our Supersize Combo Club is this checkered cutting plate. So it is an all-together die that cuts out all of those squares with a stitch line included on the inside of each of the squares. So you can cut those out of a lot of different colors. You can do like Jill did and just create that patchwork background in all the same color. Or let me show you this fun sample from Susan. Love this one. Susan, this might be my favorite of the ones that you made.
Woo!
I just love how you varied the colors of the background. So you've got that kind of monochromatic with the, I believe it's blue raspberry and confetti cake.
I failed you.
No.
I don't have the paper inside.
That's what it looks like to me, and it's just beautiful. Then stamped with the checking in background stamp over the whole thing. That looks like sugar cubes so that it's a little less, it's subtle. I love that. And then she used the die set, the Checkered Garden die set that we just talked about, to pop those flowers into the different patchwork of the checkerboard.
I told you if I could do it again, that the blue raspberry would be popped up too. So the checkerboard would be up down.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if Susan were making this again, she said she'd pop up the checkerboard piece for the darker blue raspberry to give it even more dimension in layers.
Next time.
So fun. Love that. All right, so there we have it. One thing, I'm going to pop this graphic up so you guys can see this. We did try to make it easy for you guys. If you are a bundle person and you love to have all of the things, we have our Checkered Garden Supersized bundle that would include all of the products that I just talked about. I do have one more surprise for you guys. This is not part of the bundle. But I have a feeling that some of you are going to love this storage option for your combo products. Whether it's a stamp and stencil or an embossing folder and stencil, these 7.5-inch square pouches are going to be something that I think some of you are going to want.
I'm so excited. This morning was the first time I realized we had decided to do this.
Oh, you didn't know?
I didn't know.
So Susan's going to be first
So
in line
excited.
to buy these.
Yeah.
These are our simple storage 7.5-inch square perfect pouches. With that Velcro seal, you get 5 of them in the set, and currently they are only available to those of you that are part of the combo club. So grab these and count maybe how many things you want to store in them, and you can grab these as well with your membership.
I believe anyone that's on the lives knows I am deep, clean organizing. So those
have you been
are
talking
perfect.
about that in your lives?
Yes, because I think they're going to be like, "Are you not done yet?" I'm not done.
I'll come over, Susan.
Oh, thank you.
Whitney, yes, Whitney lives nearby,
This
so.
craft room ship shape.
Oh, looks good. Well, I'm excited, always excited to hear what your favorite was of the Supersized products. And I would love to hear if you want to leave us a comment and what you're excited by, what you see lots of possibilities for. I'm going to start crafting. So let's go ahead. I've got a piece of our 6x6 paper. So we do offer this in pre-cut packs for you. I know 6x6 is one of those odd sizes that if you're cutting it down from 8.5 by 11, you end up with a good amount of waste that is just not usable for card bases. And so we provide these already pre-cut for you, and super easy when you're doing things like stenciling with 6x6 stencils. Okay, so these are my stencil layers. This is layer 1, and I am actually going to save this until last because it really, you can go in any order, so hear that from me, but I am going to add my green last, and I'm going to do my rainbow colored blooms first because it helps me to kind of get my brain around how I'm going to separate these by color. And I'll try to explain some of that as I'm going. I have all of my whole collection of bitty brushes here. Since I am going to be rainbowing this, I am going to need smaller brushes to kind of stay within the areas that I want to. And if one of you wouldn't mind, I would appreciate the Scotch tape roll that's on top of the ink thing over there. Whitney and Susan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can one of you grab me the tape roll over there?
Did you need something? We were discussing samples.
Okay.
Which tape roll are you talking about?
The one on top of the ink.
The teal tape?
No, the masking. Yes, I couldn't get the word out of my mouth. Okay, so we are going to start with this top layer is going to be pink, and then we're going to go down to orange, yellow. We're skipping green because green is going to be our leaves, and we're moving into teal, blue, and purple. Okay? Now, when I made these cards, let me see if I can bring my cards back again. When I made these cards, I actually did this top layer in red. However, I ended up cutting that off. So I figured it's just easier to do all of the top 2 rows in pink so that, you know, I'm not wasting part that I'm going to end up cutting off. So we're going to go ahead with dragon fruit first. I typically used my darker color for the background, and well, no, I guess that's not true because on the orange layer I did the darker color for the centers. So just watch. We're going to go ahead and blend dragon fruit across here. Okay. So like I talked about, my first 2 layers are going to be pink. So I have pink, and then if I come in with layer 2 of the stencil, I can see my next row is also going to be pink. And then the row after that is going to be orange. So I have my dragon fruit at the top. My flower centers here are going to be sweet potato pie. So that's the darker of my 2 orange. And this can be just a little bit close there. So I will get that covered. I want to make sure I'm also blending my squares so we don't have any issues when we're going to line up our second layer. I am going to tell you guys this is going to take me a little bit of time, but for me, the rainbow is always worth it.
It's worth it.
Okay, so pink, pink, orange. My next layer is going to be yellow, and I'm going to do pineapple for that. So we'll go ahead and just kind of move that up. And pineapple for the background here. I think the hardest part is just planning out each of the kind of rows, but actually doing it isn't difficult. Sometimes when I'm first starting to, I will make a little Post-it note and make myself some notes, because Susan and I like to get chatty in the craft room, and then it's really easy to blend the wrong color and then you've ruined your whole rainbow.
Oh no.
Not that that's ever happened to me, but.
What?
Okay, so we have pink, pink, orange, yellow. Like I said, we're skipping green. So this is going to be our teal. And then we're going to move to blue. So my flower centers on the blue layer are going to be blueberry. I should probably do some kind of a graphic for this. Okay, blueberry centers. Okay. Get my little alignment squares there on the sides. Okay. And then my final area at the bottom here will be purple. And we're going to do that with macaron. Which reminds me, I need to get back to that place here in Des Moines, the Good Day macarons, and get some more of those. I went by the other day and they were actually closed. It was on a Tuesday, and so I left sad. But I think they're open all weekend long, so I'm gonna go get myself some macarons this weekend.
I went there after you said that John
Yes.
received the macarons for his birthday, and we tried one. I had green tea, yuzu, and
you like that?
oh yes, and then they had the kids got like cookies and cream macarons.
Yes.
And they were delicious.
I tried the
love
green
that
tea
place.
one, and I think I'm just not a fan of green tea. That was the
Yes.
only one I was like, not for me. But I'm glad you like it.
I love that kind of those flavors.
Okay, layer 2, we're going to place down on top of our alignment squares. See that lining up perfectly there. And we'll tack that down with our teal tape. Okay, so up here at the top, we're doing pink again. So I'm going to start with lighter pink for the centers. That's going to be strawberry milkshake. And we'll blend that in. Again, this top row is going to get cut off for the design that I used, but if you wanted to do red, move red to pink up here, you could do that and use that full area. But I'm just gonna do 2 rows of pink. Okay, so we're back on dragon fruit here for the checkered background. Once you get one layer done too, it's a lot easier to see where everything else is falling into place. Okay, so orange row is on my next stencil, so now I'm on to yellow. Yellow, a little bit darker than pineapple. We're gonna do sweet corn flower centers. And then the next row is my teal. So we'll use another piece of this since it's a little bit close. That's a good question. So I can cover that while I'm blending. Barbara asked if some of the supersize items sell out, are they gone or will they be reordered? Because this is our very first month of the Combo Club and you have access to these products all the way through the end, if you're part of our 6-month club, then you will have access to the products through the end of September. And we will restock during that time period. So as we get closer to the end, we look at inventories and things might not be available all the way to the very end if it doesn't fall into kind of our timelines for manufacturing and such. But with this being our very first Combo Club, if things do sell out, we will have time to restock those before the end. So good question. Carrie asked if the pouches will eventually be added to regular stock. Yes, they will. This just made sense for, you know, where we could first get them out there, but that is a storage product that I know will be something everybody will want. So we do have plans to offer that. Okay, so that was confetti cake. Now the only opening left is at the bottom here for the center of my purple flowers. And I'm going to go with the darker dried fig on that. We went with the macaron for the checkerboard layer. Okay, and then this stencil layer is done. We're going to start seeing that rainbow come together. Okay, so cute.
Stacy says now she's curious about these polka dots on Tuesday. And I was just going to say, join us on Saturday for our reveal video when it goes up. And whoo,
Yes, you are going to be in for a treat.
So excited, friends.
So yes, every Saturday Whitney and I go live, or not live. What am I saying? Not live,
A video.
but we put a product reveal video out there on our Fans of Tailored Expressions page. So if you're not part of that on Facebook, then there's a great reason to join. On Saturday mornings, our new sneak peeks of our new release come out. And this week we've got lots of new goodies. Fun stuff.
Good goodies.
Good goodies. All right, next up layer we have candy corn. So this checkerboard layer is going to be a little bit lighter than the flower centers that I already did. Trying to avoid obviously the openings here with my pink flower centers. And if you wanted to cut down on ink colors, you could do your flower centers the same color as your checkerboard area, and that would look cute too. You know, I just like to be a little bit extra sometimes.
More is more.
Yeah. So this is the extra version. Whitney was like, could you have used more ink colors, Taylor? She was pulling them all out for me this
The
morning.
answer is yes.
I mean, there were about 60 more to choose from than what I actually used.
Whoops-a-daisies.
So we've got blue raspberry centers on my confetti cake checkers. And then this bottom row of opening here is going to be gumball to go with my blueberry centers that we blended already. I'm running out of blender brushes, so that's a good thing. That means we're close to the end.
And is this layer number 4? Yes.
This
No,
is
3?
Technically this is layer number 4, but I skipped layer number 1.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to come back in after I didn't want to do the green first because it just makes it hard to see all of the colors that you're trying to get in rainbow order. Mm-hmm. And it was easier to just do the green at the end.
Okay.
So we should be ready for, this is the last layer of flowers, and then we should be ready for the leafy layer last. Look at that! Isn't that so fun? Okay, let's go ahead then with our flowers that fill in all the white checkered parts of the background. And I'm going to do that with, because I'm extra today, I'm going to do that with 2 ink colors. I have a larger blender brush for my first ink color because they're all just going to be green over the whole background, so we don't have to do any masking or anything special on this layer. So I have Granny Smith. Super easy. I can't wait to see what color combinations you guys come up with this. Now, since I'm blending this, and it can be a little bit tedious to watch, I'll pull in another sample here because I thought it might make Heather proud. I did blend this on toffee cardstock. I didn't make anything out of it, but isn't that fun? I used peaches and cream and blue cheese and guava along with sugar cube on top of toffee. And I thought it looked kind of like, almost like, what did I keep calling it? A 4th of July tablecloth? Like a little bit of a rustic 4th of July with flowers instead of stars. So really not 4th of July at all. But I thought it was really fun. Okay. I'm going to run over today. I can already tell.
Guess what? It's almost the weekend.
Okay.
So you have plenty of time.
Lots of time for crafting. Okay, my last ink color then is Lime Zest. This is a little bit darker than Granny Smith. And we're going to throw that onto the bottom of each of these little leafy stems to give it some added dimension. Since we went with 2 ink colors on all of the flower parts, I wanted my green to stand out. Someone is here today.
Our very special friend.
Hi, special friend Noriko. How are you? I miss you. Glad you're tuning in today. All right, we're getting to the end of this.
Shelly says, just like the 4th of July, but not really at all.
Not really at all. I know. Sometimes words just start coming out of my mouth, and then my brain catches up, and it's like, nope, that.
Friends, this is the reason why we have combo lives. To capture Taylor's words. Just like the 4th of July. But not really.
But not really. Really nothing like the 4th of July. Now I have to bring it back again to try to salvage myself. Does it look at all like 4th of July?
It does.
Like a 4th of July tablecloth with flowers instead of stars. Okay, I'm sticking by it. But also, I'm the one who said it wasn't. So, okay. Here we go. Isn't this fun? Look at this. Okay, I love it. Love it, love it.
So cute.
And I did it in my favorite rainbow. And I've mentioned this, but in case you're just tuning in, I did 2 rows of pink at the top because we're actually going to cut off this top layer, and it was just easier than trying to finagle another row of color. But when I first did this, before I designed my cards, I did that top row in red. So if you know you want to use the entire strip and not cut part of it off, then I would do that top row in red instead of pink. All right, I got to clear out some of these blender brushes and inks that I've been using, and we get to emboss now. Once I clean up my little area here. Do we have a cloth?
Here.
Thank you.
I washed them recently.
Oh, yes. Whitney did a wash in our kitchen sink up here at the TE shop. Just soaked them. Hand washed.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I was just happy with, she didn't put them with clothes. That was bad.
Yeah, the water of our dirty cloths was something
Quite
you
colorful.
would not want to go with your clothes. All right, so let's go ahead and emboss now. I'm going to bring in my machine, and we're going to talk about how we do the embossing with 3D embossing folders. All right. So with the Big Shot machine, you're going to take out the thin die adapter plate, and we are going to use our smooshy pad. This is our embossing pad kit. It comes with 2, a thick and a thin, and we are going to be using the thick version. I don't find that I ever need to use both of them together unless you have a machine that has really reduced tension. Some of you that have a newer machine might get away with just using the thin one. So experiment a little bit with that. But this is going to help us, give us that extra pressure that we need in order to emboss this design. So then the next thing is going to be the embossing folder with the paper in it. And then we're going to put that down on the smushy mat and place it through with this, just like that. But let's get this aligned now that we know what our sandwich is going to be. I'm going to take my paper trimmer and I'm actually going to just cut off a little bit of that white space at the top. It's going to help us get a better arrangement into that embossing folder, because there is a fold line up here and sometimes you need to shift your paper right up into that fold. So cutting off that top portion there is going to make it a little bit easier. Then we are going to, this is a very important step. I've been telling Susan all day, don't let me forget about this step, because sometimes I do forget and then I regret it. So when you're using a 3D embossing folder specifically, it works really well if you moisten the back of your paper. So I like to do that with a baby wipe. It's not, you know, sopping wet. I don't have to go to the sink. I'm just gonna run this over the back of my cardstock. And the reason why I like to do that is because with the 3D embossing folder that has those multiple layers of dimension, it does take your paper and push it into all those areas, and you can experience more cracking if you don't do this step. So now we are going to position that design. You can see the design through the plastic of the folder, and we're going to position that right on top of our artwork, maybe shifting just a smidge. Smidge is Susan's favorite word. Just a smidge down from the actual artwork. And when I say smidge, I mean such a small smidge, because sometimes when you put that through your machine, it likes to grab your paper and pull the paper slightly. So I'm going to look at how we're going down the paper here. I think that's looking good. This side a little bit farther up. Once you feel like you have it in a good spot, just clamp that embossing folder down over your design. And then we're going to put our clear piece on top and send it through. One other tip that I didn't mention, and sometimes it might seem obvious, but make sure you're sending your folder through with that folded portion first. So it does, when you send it through with the other area or the bottom area first, it can cause some issues with the alignment. So look at that. Look at those details. If I hold it up really close here, you can see the really pretty little dots in the center of each of those flowers. So super fun. Now we're going to cut our design down. With my paper trimmer. Okay, so you see these alignment squares on the side? I'm actually going to start by cutting those off completely. So just lining up my trimmer along the left side of those alignment squares. I'll cut that off. And cut that off. We can cut the white space off of the bottom here. Okay. And then I mentioned we're going to cut off this half row of the pink at the top. And that should give us the size that we want for the cards that I'm making. And then I'm going to cut it in half. So I have 3 squares and 3 squares. So cut it right off at 3 squares. These are pieces we can toss. There's so many opportunities for kind of embellishing these. On my projects, I decided to use a white gel pen to add the white dots into the centers of the flowers. And I have my Milky Pop gel pen here that I can start adding those in. You can see the dots. They are raised on your embossing folder once you put that through. So you just kind of go over each dot with a little bit of the gel pen. And when you think about embellishing these in other ways, think about drip drops, glitter drops, glossy accents was another one we talked about. I'm sure you guys will come up with lots of creative ways to do that.
While you're dotting, a question that's come up a couple of times
Yeah.
is, can you emboss and then blend?
Oh, can you? Can you is a good word for it.
I
so
keep responding the same way. You can.
You can. We have found to have less success with aligning the stencil over the top after the paper is already embossed, because the paper has been stretched and smushed, so it's harder to match the embossing folder to the stretched and smushed paper. But depending on your tolerance for, like, you know, a little bit off, I think, yes, you can. So if you find it easier, like your eyes can't quite line up that embossing folder after you've blended, try it both ways. Because there's really, that's with all crafting, there's really no wrong way to, well, okay, I can't say there's no wrong way to do certain things. Don't.
No, because everyone has their own thing that works the best for them, and then they should do that.
And this is one of those preference things. So I would encourage you to try it and see what you prefer. This is the way that our designers have preferred, you know, when we're teaching it and sharing it.
The other thing that keeps coming up along those lines while you're dotting away is when to use the embossing folder. And the thing is, there's a lot of flexibility with that too. Like if you use the embossing folder and then you decide, oh, I want a die cut, you can. You just have to realign your paper because it's going to smush it a little bit.
Right.
So, and run it through the embossing folder again. You just have to, or make sure you do all your die cutting first.
Yes.
So.
And if your piece that you're die cutting is big enough, like with these samples that I made, I did my die cutting first, and then I put each piece through the embossing folder. So
you can line them up.
You can line them up easily, whether they're die cut or not, depending on how big your die cut piece is. But this one is big, so simple to line up after you die cut. How will the folder work if you use glitter paste on the stencil? Well, you'd need your glitter paste to dry all the way before you put it through your embossing folder. And depending on what type you use, like I'm thinking about lunar pastes and those that are more shimmery, they might crack and get stuck in your embossing folder. But that's another one.
Wouldn't allow any movement out of your paper.
Right. The paper might not stretch as well if it has paste on it. So another thing to try and see what your results are, but that's been my experience with that. Okay, so I set those aside. We're going to do some background stamping on the card panels that I'll attach to my card bases. I used a couple of background stamps that are favorites of mine. This one is new, so it is a new favorite of mine. I've been using it a lot. I wasn't sure how I would like it with the kind of modern look of these checkerboard flowers, but I really liked how those words sort of gave it a little bit more, brought in a little bit of a rustic feel to it with my bright colors. So this is called Weathered Words, and when I used this on the live, I showed you guys with word stamps. Sometimes it's hard to tell which way is up when you're looking at a backwards stamp, and so I figured out which way is up, and then I put top on my stamp. I just wrote that with Sharpie on there, So if that seems helpful for you, it might help also with our fine line script stamp. I know that script is sometimes even harder to tell. So, okay, I've got the stamp arranged so that it's straight on my background. I have some adhesive over here so that I can close that lid and press. It's gonna pull my paper over. I do need the blue raspberry ink still.
Oh, yes.
And the dried fig, if you took that one too. Thank you.
That's what happens when Whitney cleans up.
Okay, so blue raspberry tone-on-tone stamping with the blue raspberry cardstock. Okay. Get out my Just Press tool. All right, there we have one. Then let's take my other background stamp. This one is called Wonky Grid, and it was released last year as a masculine option during our For Him release, but it is something that has gotten so much use from me. I think it might just be my style. I like the geometric look, but a little bit of a wonky geometric sometimes is what you want. I wasn't sure if I would like this again with this background because I thought these checkerboards are so, perfect and square. Am I gonna like that wonky grid? But I think I do. I think that's why I like it, because it does give that kind of contrast and opposite effect as the layering stencil. So let's put our paper down again on this background. You will notice some of our backgrounds are different sizes. So this is a regular size, kind of designed to stamp A2. And the reason for that is if you want to make a horizontal card or a vertical card, the pattern is going to look the same. Now with a stamp that has words on it, if you tried to use it, if it was this size, you could only make a vertical card with it, because if you tried to turn your paper horizontally, your words would be sideways. So that's why we created a 6x6 background, so you have more flexibility to make whatever card direction you want. All right. Again, blue raspberry ink on the background stamp. Got my Just Press tool. Looks great. Now let me take, this is dragon fruit cardstock. I need to grab my die cut machine a second here and put my thin die adapter back in place. We don't need the squishy mat for die cutting. So we'll put our plate back in the bottom. And then for my border, I am using one of our, is this one? I think this is More Easy Edgers is the die set. We have Easy Edgers, and then we wanted more of them, so we named them More Easy Edgers. So this little scalloped border comes from the More Easy Edgers set. And we'll go ahead and put that through twice. Okay.
Is it not cooperating?
Got it. Okay, so 2 borders, and I think, Oh, I was gonna say we're done with our die cutting, but we're not yet. Because I haven't done my sentiments.
But wait, there's more!
But wait! She's still going. Okay, I wanted to make sure you guys got to see this fun sentiment set in action. So let's pull out a piece of sugar cube cardstock and that stamp, Block Talk Love Ya. We'll go ahead and place that down. I'm gonna wipe it here just a second because I think, well, I'm not sure if I used it last, but if I did, it's probably dirty, so, but I do want to make sure that there's not any little bits and anything left on the stamp, because since it is that solid rubber, you'll be able to see if there are any marrings. Okay, or any little hairs or anything left in there. All right. Feel pretty good about that, but
you want a towel?
I also just want to make sure I get the moisture out of the stamps, because once you turn it upside down onto your paper, if you have you guys noticed that? If you have moisture inside the etchings of the rubber and it kind of gets onto your paper, it can make your ink look mushy. Okay, so I think my stamp is completely dry and looks good. Let's place that down on our cardstock. And we'll go ahead and ink with dried fig. And when I ink a stamp that has a lot of solid space on it, my technique for inking, it might seem a little weird to those of you that have been stamping for a long time, but I do a twist and a tap. So I press and twist across the whole stamp until I get it covered, and then I tap.
I didn't know that. I think I asked you that the other day. I was like, how do I do this? Because I want it to look perfect.
Yes. Well, that is the other thing about this. I'm going to pull this up, and it might look, what do we call it, blotchy? But the great thing about our ink is that it dries back to look absolutely beautiful. I have a couple of little spots here that I can see. I have some ink remaining on my stamps, so I'm just going to press those down. There. I just pressed without re-inking. I had a couple of white spots here, and I saw that there was still ink that didn't quite get pressed into the stamp. So instead of re-inking it all and stamping it again, I would encourage you to close your lid and just press in those spots where your white dots might be. To try that first, because the more times you ink this, the less clear your words will become, because that ink needs somewhere to go. So the more times you stamp over and over, you might start to get some fuzziness on your letters. So I would recommend no more than twice on stamping this particular design. But I got away with one time. Beautiful. You can see those alignment squares on the sides there. You can also tell how much we have loved this stamp, because here are all of the extra pieces that we have so far from stamping and die cutting this. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put this over the top, lining up those alignment squares, and then I need my actually, I should get my tape first before I spend a bunch of time lining that up.
Brilliant.
Sometimes I have a good idea. All right. And then we'll bring the die cut machine back in here and cut these out. All right. And this is going to cut all of the rectangles out at the same time. Let's see. Okay, I did. I got it to stay together. So I wanted to show you guys what this looks like. There's what all of those look like. If I turn it towards the light, you can see the stitch lines in there, which is super fun. And then they just crumble apart like this. Cute.
Easy peasy.
Yes.
Adorable.
Okay, so let's get our card pieces back in here, the ones that we stenciled and embossed. And we are gonna start by, let's use the liquid glue, adding our border along the edge, a little bit of adhesive on there, and tuck it on this side. I want my stitch line to show, so I'm arranging it so the stitch line shows. And then we'll cut off the excess. Here's our second one. Whoops.
There's a lot of love for the red rubber on that sentiment.
Yes.
They understand
They-
that. We
yay!
love it too.
I know. I do love red rubber stamps. They perform so well, especially with the solid stamping over large surfaces, really intricate designs. Okay. Now we can turn these over, put some foam tape on the back. I used thin foam. So this is our 1x3 thin foam strips. Put a couple of those on the back. Let's see. Let's use thanks and love ya are the sentiments that I wanted to use on these. This little bit just goes back on the end if I don't use it right away. Anybody else do that?
Yes.
I know Susan does because I'm always using her little bits. I appreciate it. Nobody wants to waste foam tape. All right, we'll tear this off, save my little bits elsewhere, and then I'm going to cut this one in half.
I have to go back to the red rubber comment and just say
Yeah.
I knew our customers were brilliant.
They sure are.
They are.
I know it can be intimidating for people who haven't used it to understand it or to kind of get used to it. I know when Heather first came on board with Tailored Expressions, she was really accustomed to clear stamps, and now Heather wants rubber stamps. So I think if you haven't tried it, give it a shot. We have such better tools these days for aligning stamps that that doesn't seem to be a detractor the way that it used to be with the wood-mounted stamps or the, you know, I felt like I was really good with my Stamp-A-Majig. When the Misty came out, I think I even said, I don't need that, which was not true at all. But yeah, the things like the Stamp-A-Majig, if you've been a stamper for a while, you know what that is, and you never want to see one again. So.
I remember when I first started at TE, and it must have been like the first live I was on with you, and you said, hand me my Misty, and I had no clue. I was like, where would that be?
What
now
is
I'm
that?
like, this is the most important tool. Onboarding people, I'm like, this is a very important tool. Use it.
Make sure you know what it is, what it stands for.
The teal one is the cutest, so
The
that's
teal one is the best, so if she asks for her Misty, give her
That's
the
what it
teal
is.
one. All right, so there's Smile and an offset. So I did one of them offset, kind of hanging over the edge because I wanted to show you what that looks like, but also this was designed to fit 2 boxes perfectly. So you could also kind of overlap two of the boxes. Then these are full card base sized. So I did just put some adhesive on the back of these and place them down on a sugar cube card base. So there you have it. I did smile, hello, love ya, and thanks. So cute, right?
Adorable.
Look at those. And one thing I will mention is you'll notice, maybe, I think on screen, you'll notice how this ink is a little bit lighter than this one. So this is actually going to dry back to achieve more of that kind of a little bit lighter look. So it is the same ink color, just as it dries, it lightens to be closer to the cardstock color. So love it. What do you guys think? So fun. Yes, my pile of sentiments, you guys have picked out that as well. So we're going to have some fun with these for sure, because so many different things you can do with them. And I really love the style of the font that I used on these. I think it's just unique and different. I love how the thanks is kind of stacked and matches the kind of modern feel of the flowers as well.
I agree. It's adorable.
Did I forget to do anything? Did we do it all?
No, we did it all.
Okay, well then I'm gonna come back and let
You're
people
just
know.
15 minutes over. No big
Okay,
deal.
only
We
15
can handle
minutes. Well, thank you for hanging out with us today for our first Combo Club Live. I hope you guys are excited. I know Combo Club products are starting to ship today. And if you order from our Supersize release, those will ship separately from your Combo Club. So we always offer free shipping over $50, and then you don't have to worry about any shipping costs. I love that. Yeah, so coming up next week, as I mentioned tomorrow, tune in on our Fans of Tailored Expressions page, where you will see Whitney and I do a product reveal for what you can expect on Tuesday. Such fun stuff. So definitely tune in tomorrow. If you don't make it tomorrow, then come back on Tuesday. I will be live again at 10 a.m. and we're going to go through the products together and of course get crafty again. And then I believe, Susan, you have the live next week on Thursday. So you guys can spend some time with Susan on Thursday creating with new products from our Throwback Thursday that is happening every Thursday in April. So much going on around Tailored Expressions. So thank you guys for hanging out with us and for trusting us to provide you with some super fun craft supplies so that you can keep sharing joy with those in your lives. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you later. Bye.